Hi folks. So today I have something different for you. If there's one good thing that came out of me watching The Last Jedi, then it's that it reminded me how much I love old Star Wars. So I decided to run a Star Wars campaign in a role-playing game format using Star Wars Saga Edition by Wizards of the Coast. Because it's the system that I know the best, I think it works relatively well. It has a few problems, everything does. I just know it really well. I think it does a decent job at creating a cinematic Star Wars experience. So if you know the system, that'll help a lot, but I'll try to explain things as they come up and try not to dive too much into the number crunching of the game. I hope some of you will be interested in this, and I'm going to do an update every week so you can follow along and see how the story develops. Now, this first video is just going to be about my basic idea and the setup. Now, you might notice that I'm not wearing my glasses. That's because whenever I wear my glasses and I record, that creates this hideous glare from my monitor. That's really annoying for all of you to watch. So I took off my glasses and I have to look at the screen. So if I'm squinting, it's because I'm blind as a bat and I'm trying to look at the screen. So I hope you'll forgive me if, I look like I'm squinting like some kind of mole. So let me just go. I've got my OneNote open. Let me go to introduction. Now, this is all just my work. The loss of their base on Hoth was a severe blow to the Rebel Alliance. Yet new recruits are joining the cause for freedom and justice for all beings. The Alliance fleet has spread out through the galaxy, and Rebel leaders have learned from the mistakes of the past, sending out small groups of Rebel operatives to build Rebel cells from the ground up. The Blue Haven is at CWE Mark III Skyhook, orbiting I need to edit this. Orbiting the gas giant designated as Servin 7, located in a barren system that contains no habitable planets and only a few valuable materials to be mined. The Skyhook was built by a wealthy Arcanian who believed he was ensured a healthy profit with both tourists to occupy the hotels, restaurants, and other luxury establishments of his Skyhook, as well as earnings from the ore mined by the surface facility. He was eventually proven wrong. Few beings felt any desire to travel to an unknown and barren system simply to enjoy the kind of luxuries they could also experience on most core worlds. And their mining facility itself had several setbacks, leading to the death of several workers and a large lawsuit. Finally, the project was scaled back, and the owner sought to modify the place into only a mining facility and factory, but could not find anyone wishing to invest in the project. Finally, the Skyhook was completely abandoned and forgotten throughout the years, until a rebel team discovered the old Skyhook while searching for possible locations of a new base. Though too small to serve as a base for the entire Rebel Alliance, an idea formed among Alliance leaders to get the Skyhook operational again and use it as the base of operations for a Rebel strike group. So that's just my introduction. I need to make a few small edits. I notice my grammar is off a little. But the base idea is that the game is going to be focused around the Skyhook that's in an abandoned system, and from there my rebels will operate. Now they're going to get a small crew, some repairmen, a few security guards, and then I'm going to send them out on missions. I'm going to have a kind of episodic game where There's clear missions. First they do this mission, then that. Now I want to give them some freedom, but on the whole, that will be the setup of the game. Now I wanted to do some... Let's go into house rules real quick. This is only for people who know the Saga system, but as this is going to be a play-by-post game, I made a few simple changes to make it a little more streamlined, because initiative can really drag along in a play-by-post game. I also changed hit points. If you roll low, you always get half the die. So if you have a d8, then you always get 4 hit points. That way you're not penalized for rolling high, like forcing them to take half. But if you roll crappy, it doesn't hurt too bad because you've always got half. So let's jump into character creation real quick. We're using Saga Edition rules, obviously. Most of the books will be allowed. I might block a few talents, classes, and feats because some are just overpowered, but we'll get to that, see if anyone actually tries to take those. I'm going to work with a 30-point buy. It's pretty standard from what I've seen. And it, gives well-rounded characters that are pretty strong, but not too strong. I'm going to start at level 5. Some people like to start at level 1, but personally I like having people, have a few levels under their belt so they're not starting as complete noobs. Now, I took a different approach to starting equipment. I'm trying to do something that I really enjoy myself and give them more options. So I went with equipment packages. I'm going to skip that for now and explain it next. So, also Saga Edition comes with a destiny system where you get these destiny points, which are really powerful. And I'm not going to use that. Instead, I'm going to use the background system, which gives you 1 or sometimes 2 class skills that your class might not normally have. I think that's interesting. Now, there's some restrictions. The Jedi class will not be available. We're playing during Rebellion times. As far as I'm concerned, Luke Skywalker is the only Jedi. I know that in the expanded universe, which I am using, there are other Jedis. You can argue that there could be Jedis in this game. I don't like it. I want to play a Rebellion game. There won't be any Jedi. The Hutt race will not be available because every single time I run a game, there's some guy playing a Hutt, or at least applying to play a Hutt, and it always ends up in disaster. So to avoid that this time, I said no more Hutts. The Force training feat will not be available. The Force training feat is the only way you can get Force powers in Saga Edition. So obviously, I don't want people to have Force powers. There's not going to be Force witches, at least not among the players. Now, there might be a chance to learn Force powers later on, but not at the start of the game. Nobody is going to be trained in the Force. I will allow the Force sensitivity feat. There can be Force sensitive characters. Maybe they'll be able to find someone to teach them some Force powers, but I really don't want characters to start out like that. I banned the wealth talent because it throws off the game. But other than that, also Force talents are generally banned. A few might be allowed, like Force Pilot. It allows you to use the Force instead of Pilot for piloting. Prestige class, I haven't really banned any because none of them seem that bad. I also just made a blanket rule that I can disallow anything if I want to. Obviously, I can always do that as GM, but I just wanted to make it clear. And we won't be using destiny points. Then we will be using the errata. Let's see, I've done introduction, I've done house rules, I've done character creation. Let's jump into equipment packages. So this is what I've done. I've given them 5 packages to choose from. Each gives them a transport, a space transport like the Millennium Falcon, 2 starfighters. Yes. You see, I'm blind without my glasses. I give all characters a bonus and then some starting equipment. Then I try to rate each package on what it gives for combat and stealth. Because, let's look at the first package. You get a Jafrock 720 freighter. Now that's kind of a crappy freighter. You can't really do much with it, but it gets you around. But you get 2 shiny brand new Incom X-Wings, including astromech droids. Now that is really nice. X-Wings are really good, and they're really good in Saga Edition. So you can really put those X-Wings to work. And let's just move quickly to the ranks. I've given this an A rank because X-Wings are just great. You can do a lot of damage with X-Wings. But I've given them a D in stealth rank, because any Imperial planet you approach is going to be like, hey, wait, are those Rebel X-Wings? They're X-Wings. Let's investigate. So yeah, X-Wings are signature of the rebellion. And arriving in one is really going to draw some attention. Now, on top of that, all characters gain the weapon proficiency rifle speed. This allows everyone to use a rifle. I thought that was a nice small bonus. People get a blaster rifle, a med pack, utility belt, and 2,000 credits, which is, I think it's about average from what I've got. Now, the second package is far more suitable for if you want to sneak in on a planet. It gives you a Corellian Engineering YT-2400 light freighter. If you know what it is, it's the Outrider. The Outrider is a YT-2400. Now, this is a great transport. You can upgrade it to be amazing in whatever you want to do. So, yeah, that's a good... Looks like I made a change earlier. It looks like I forgot to change that. So yeah, I need to make a few changes, but it's okay. Okay, so this should be 2 Z95 starfighters. Originally, I had this package with the YT-2400. Two Z95 starfighters. I can't type without my glasses. There we go. Originally, I had this package with a YT-2400 and 2 Dune Lizards. That proved to be too powerful, because whenever I asked people, what package would you pick, everybody picked this one, because a YT-2400 and 2 Dune Lizards is just too good. I had to change it. Okay, so characters still get a bonus. In this case, Deception is a class skill to all characters, since this is the main stealthy approach. I thought it was cool to give every character access to the Deception skill, even if their class doesn't normally give it. They get a blaster pistol, a utility belt, and 3,000 credits, which is a little more. It's nice to have. Combat rank, I give it a B-. The freighter is pretty good, even off the shelf. The Z95s are not that good. I might change that to a C. But it's tricky. Let's change that to a C+. So, that's package B. Package C. This is an interesting one. I went with 2 Kunser things. I guess that's how you say it. I've got a Citadel transport as the space transport. It's a pretty decent transport, and it has the ability to carry fighters on its own, which is interesting. Now, I also gave that to the Gallifrey, but that's because it's so huge and it can have a hangar. But yeah, this ship is still a space transport. And it can carry the 2 Y-Wings that come with it. I did give the Y-Wings upgraded shields, because honestly they really need it. And I gave them an astromech, because otherwise they need gunners, because it's a 2 crew ship. And I felt like that would split the group up a little too much. I'm only looking for 6 players. So yeah, that's a Citadel, Transport, and 2 Y-Wings. Now, I gave it about a B in both. I'm going to give it B -2. Because, these Y-Wings, they're not great. They're okay. They get you around. And it's the same with the Citadel Transport. It's all decent. But it's just, none of it really stands out. However, the character bonus is really good. Space Hound lets you use, heavy weapons if you're firing them from a ship. So anyone can use ship weaponry. And that's a really nice bonus. I might even remove the astromech upgrade so that people can be gunners on the Y-Wing. I need to think about that. I'll let you know next time what I decided on. So then they get a heavy blaster pistol, utility belt, and 1500 credits. Since this is a well-rounded package and the Space Hound talent is pretty good, I thought I would leave it at 1500. So we get to package D. Now this is the only package where you get a frigate-sized ship. But it's not a frigate. Because it's a Gallifrey GR-75 medium transport. Now, if you don't know what that is, they're the big egg-like things that leave Hoth when the rebels are, evacuating Hoth. And they're huge. They have massive amount of cargo space. And they actually have pretty decent shielding even off the rack. However, they're slow as hell. They can't dodge anything. And they're frigate sized, which means they're easily targeted by turbo lasers. However, when it comes to starfighters, you get 2 Dune Lizard starfighters. Now these are excellent starfighters. They're not quite X-Wings, but they're good. So I like this package, and I would definitely consider this myself. Now, I would love to hear other people's opinions. I don't know if anyone is going to be watching this, but if you have an opinion, please share it. As a character bonus, mechanics is going to be a class skill to all characters. That's a nice little bonus. And all characters gain the toughness feat for free. That's some extra hit points. It allows characters to be tough, and everything in this package is pretty tough. That Gallifrey can take a lot of punishment, even if it can't dodge anything. Those Dune Lizards are pretty tough too. They're not quite X-Wings, but they're really decent. Then, starting equipment, you just get a utility belt, but you get 4,000 credits to spend however you see fit. So then we get to combat. The Dune Lizards carry this package when it comes to combat, because the Gallifrey is not suitable for combat. However, it does have a decent rank in stealth, because nobody's going to look twice at, a Gallifrey transport. They're everywhere. And even Dune Lizards, they don't draw a lot of attention like X-Wings do. Everybody uses a Dune Lizard. Security forces, pirates, smugglers, anybody can grab a Dune Lizard and just, go off into the galaxy. Now, Package E is the one I added last. So, it gives you a Wayfarer class medium transport, or gives the players, which is an interesting ship. It's pretty sluggish, it's pretty weak, but you do get 2 A-Wing starfighters. Now, it's debatable if the A-Wing is better than the X-Wing, and it really comes down to whether or not you get hit, because the A-Wing is much better at dodging hits, but if you get hit, that can be the end of your character, because they can't take any damage, while X-Wings can actually take a shot or 2 before they, get into serious trouble. Now, as a character bonus, all characters are trained in the pilot skill at no cost. I thought that was a good upgrade for a package where, these ships really require excellent pilots. A-Wings need the best of the best in pilots. So I thought it was nice to give everyone the pilot skill and have it trained too. Now they get a utility belt, a holdout blaster, which is the weakest form of a blaster, but you can hide it anywhere. And 2,000 credits. Now I gave this an A in combat too, because A-Wings are really good starfighters too, just like the X-Wings. It's just a matter of style. However, they do a little better in stealth. Not great, but a little better. Because in this time period, A-Wings aren't that common yet. People haven't really seen the A-Wing yet. They have been in some battles, but they're not commonly known yet. So Imperials might not recognize your A-Wing for a Rebel Alliance ship. Let's see, do I have anything else? Oh, I do. I have the Blue Haven itself. Now this is the Skyhook. I gave it stats. That's all pretty basic. But what else I did is I gave my players the ability to upgrade their Skyhook. I thought that was a nice touch. I like it when games, computer games allow you to upgrade your base and make it more defensible or whatever. And I thought I would do the same in my RPG campaign. So they can upgrade the weather sensor vanes, which reduces the monthly upkeep. That's nice. I gave them the ability to get an Imperial business license, which means you have to register your business. But at the same time, if the Imperials find out and you don't have an Imperial business license, you're gonna run into trouble. So it's entirely up to the players whether they want to start a legitimate business as a cover for their rebel activities, or they just want to stay in obscurity. They can fix the tractor beam generators. It might come in handy. The administrative level, which gives them hypercom systems, for, HoloNet communications. And it also activates the shield generators, which can be handy if a battle happens with the Skyhook. Then they can fix some extra hangars, give them more room for fighters. Then there are 2 upgrades for the promenade. They can turn them into barracks for rebel forces, or they can go the business route and turn it into a holiday paradise. Now I'm really curious what the players will end up doing. They might not get any of those, but I'm hoping they will. They can fix the point defense weaponry, always good. You never know when pirates come by. They might shoot your Skyhook. They can reactivate the mining facility that's down on the surface. That gives them some steady income, which can be great. And then they can also activate the factories on the Skyhook, which gives them even more income. And it can also help the Rebel Alliance if they give the weapons there. So this is what I've got. I'm going to post my, what we call the request for players today. And I'm going to see who applies. And my next video is going to be a short summary on all the players that applied and what their characters are. And then I'm going to let you know which characters I chose. So, if you got through all of this, thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll stick with this. I certainly intend to stick with it and do this every week. So, if you're interested, keep an eye out for more updates. And again, thanks for listening.